So, guys, Showore has raised an alarm over the maltreatment of the Igbos by the Nigerian military. So, Showore posted on his Twitter handle yesterday, being the 15th of November, raising alarm as to how the Nigerian army arrested these two couples. Since 2021, they've been held in detention somewhere there in Niger State. Ask me what was their crime. That they are IPOB members. That's just the reason for them being arrested since 2021. And nobody knows their whereabouts. We all know what the Southeasterners have been going through. And that is why people keep saying that, the level of marginalization, by the federal government in the side of the Igbos, that the best thing that will happen is for this country to divide. Allow the Igbos to go. You can imagine couples being arrested since 2021, that they appear to be members of the IPOB. And since then, they've been held in detention. And so, guys, Showore has raised this alarm. And you can see that is why we have more of the insecurity in the north. Because the Nigerian military tend to pay more attention in the southeast and allowing, terrorists to groom in the north. We all know about the new terrorist group in the north that has groomed itself to the point that it has become a very big problem in the society. While we have the Nigerian military, we have the Nigerian police, we have other intelligence, agents in this country. But nobody knew about this group until they grew to become what they are. We even heard that they went ahead to offer 1 million per recruit. Any of the young guys they are able to recruit, they pay them 1 million naira. And you can imagine, with that level of amount of money, they can't resist it. I mean, the northern youth can't resist 1 million naira that many of them have not seen before. And that is why the insecurity in the north is not abating. The Nigerian military is more in the southeast, with blockage all over the roads in the southeast, collecting money, and then at the same time arresting many southeasterners in the name of their ESN members or their IPOB members or their supporters of Nnamdi Kanu, which has led to the buying of many young youths in the southeast. So, guys, the problem is just that we don't even have any voice that speaks for us. The southeast has no politician that stands up to the occasion to defend the Igbos. People like Omaide, people like the governor of Imo State and the rest of them, they are there whining and dining with APC, leaving Igbo youths to fall victim at the hands of these security agents, and then allowing the people to feel pain all day through. So, guys, this is what is happening in the southeast, and it is very shocking to see the operation of the military in this country being one-sided. We also how a Fulani leader was arrested under this Tinubu's administration. He was accused of putting up his own security architecture. And guess what? He was arrested and charged with terrorism. And guess what? He was later released because Tinubu was afraid of, the revolt of the northerners. But look at how many Igbo guys, even the innocent ones that were arrested are still in detention. Some of them, we don't even know if they are still alive or not. And nobody to speak for the Southeasterners. It is really, really so pathetic seeing the way this country is going. The level of marginalization in this country is alarming. It is really, really alarming. That is why an Igbo man can never become the chief of army staff. That is why an Igbo man can never head any of the security agencies. That is why an Igbo man can never be the minister for finance. That is why an Igbo man can never be the EFCC boss. That is why the Igbo man can never be given a juicy position. All this is attempt to bring down the Igbos. Don't forget that in the recent interview that Showore granted, he said there is a secret memo under this government, under the Nigerian government, to silence and suppress the Igbos so that they will not rise. So, guys, these are some of the things that people see and they say that Biafra is the solution, that they want to secede. Allow us to go. The level of marginalization of the Igbos is heartbreaking in this country. And that is why they keep saying that secession is the only answer. Even an ex-retired naval officer came up to say the best thing to happen to Nigeria is to divide Nigeria so that a certain tribe does not impose, their own religion on others. And you can see what the Southeasterners are going through. Honestly, this is very, very unfair. The Nigerian military should check out these couples and release them. Let them go back to their families. In case they have children, let them go and find out the whereabouts of their children. So, guys, take a look.
The ongoing human rights crisis in Nigeria, the case of Mr. and Mrs. Ifedi Sunday. Today, we delve into a distressing human rights issue emerging from Nigeria, a country grappling with internal conflicts, political turmoil, and accusations of systemic human rights abuses. At the heart of this story is an Igbo couple, Mr. Ifedi and Mrs. Ifedi Callista, who have been detained without trial since 2021 at the Wawa Barracks in Niger State. Accused of being members of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, their plight is a harrowing example of Nigeria's broader pattern of enforced disappearances and rights violations. The Indigenous People of Biafra, or IPOB, is a separatist group advocating for the restoration of the Republic of Biafra, which existed briefly during the Nigerian Civil War from 1967 to 1970. For many in the southeast region, IPOB symbolizes a fight against perceived marginalization and oppression by the central government. However, the Nigerian government has labeled IPOB a terrorist organization, leading to widespread crackdowns on its members and alleged sympathizers. Since 2021, Mr. and Mrs. Ifedi have been held at Wawa Barracks without formal charges or a trial, essentially denied their right to due process. Human rights activist and former presidential candidate Omoyele Sowore has brought attention to their plight, describing their detention as emblematic of Nigeria's insatiable need for national unity at the expense of basic human freedoms. Sowore's revelations are a chilling reminder of a troubling trend in Nigeria: the use of security forces to silence dissent, particularly in the southeast region. The detention of the Ifedi couple is not an isolated case. Reports indicate that hundreds of residents in the southeast, men, women, and even the elderly, have been abducted by security forces under suspicion of ties to IPOB. Families of these individuals are often left in limbo, unsure whether their loved ones are alive or dead. Security operations in the region have been marked by allegations of excessive force and human rights abuses. Amnesty International has documented cases involving mass arrests, entire communities being swept up by military raids, torture, detainees subjected to brutal methods to extract confessions, extortion, families coerced into paying bribes for information or the release of loved ones, extrajudicial executions, killings carried out without any judicial process. This systematic targeting of Southeast communities has created a climate of fear and anger, further fueling tensions in a region already fraught with violence. The Southeast has become a hotbed of unrest, with unknown gunmen attacking security checkpoints and military formations in retaliation for the government's heavy-handed tactics. In response, the Nigerian military has allegedly razed entire communities, an act condemned as collective punishment by rights groups. While these actions are framed as a crackdown on IPOB, critics argue they undermine the very concept of justice and exacerbate the underlying grievances that fuel separatist sentiments. Sowore's post on X, formerly Twitter, is part of a growing chorus of activists and organizations calling for accountability and transparency. In his statement, he highlighted the couple's ordeal, noting that several other Nigerians, especially from the southeast, are abandoned and rotting away in military barracks. His words resonate with countless families enduring the pain of uncertainty. The case of Mr. and Mrs. Ifedi Sunday is emblematic of a larger issue: Nigeria's struggle to balance national unity with respect for human rights. As the government intensifies its actions against IPOB and its perceived supporters, the line between security enforcement and human rights abuse grows increasingly blurred. International organizations, local activists, and civil society must amplify their efforts to demand transparency, legal accountability, and an end to arbitrary detentions. For Mr. and Mrs. Ifedi and hundreds like them, the fight for justice is far from over. If this story resonates with you, share it to raise awareness about the ongoing human rights challenges in Nigeria. Every voice counts in the fight against injustice.